Why do you want to participate in a healthier lifestyle? Why do you want to improve the way that you feel? And that why, that's something that has to be bigger than yourself, because that's going to help you get through those tough times or you feel like you're really struggling in your health and wellness journey. So finding your why may be, I want to see my grandchildren grow up. And maybe I want to make sure I get off of this high blood pressure medication, or I want to not have to take insulin for diabetes, or why it can be something like that. And just having that and knowing I'm pushing for something bigger, and everything I do is taking these small steps to get to this bigger goal. That's something that just really makes it a really strong impact, and it's something that you internalize and it helps you to grow.
Hey, this is Oshri from Nom Nom, and I'm here interviewing Emani Parsons. She's a nutritionist, goes by Vegan Mani, and we're here to ask her a few questions today, learn a little bit about different nutrition topics, and so happy to be with you here today.
Likewise, thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'd love to know at first, if you want to share a bit about how you got started on your path as a nutritionist.
Great, that's a great question. As for me, I've always had this interest for nutrition early as high school years. So when I was in my high school class, my senior year, I believe we were watching Super Size Me and health class. And that film just really inspired me to learn more about food. I'm just like, where does food come from? What makes something a healthy food? What makes something an unhealthy food? And then after that, I went to college and I got my undergraduate degree in health science. But I took a nutrition class my sophomore year, and that's when everything kind of came together and it clicked, because I would learn about all these different nutrition topics. And I just felt so drawn to them. I didn't really even have to study because I was just so intrigued by everything I was learning. Everything just like stuck for me. So then I had a moment where I was just like, you know what? I need to go into nutrition. So from then on, I started looking at different graduate school programs and really kind of like targeted my college career to set me up to get like a nutrition master's degree. So then after I graduated from my undergrad, I went to Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. I went to Columbia University, the Institute of Human Nutrition, to get my master's in nutrition from there, because I always had a dream to go to Columbia. That was my dream school. And the nutrition program was really, really good. And the program was 1 year. So that was something that definitely challenged me in more ways than one. But it also helped me to grow and to just learn so much more about nutrition. And I just really appreciated the experience. And another thing that also made me want to become a nutritionist is that a lot of people in my family, they suffer from nutrition-related illnesses. So having heart disease, having high blood pressure, and just being someone who is a minority, being a Black woman and seeing my community suffer from all these things that can be prevented through diet, I knew that this was a field that I can really go into and had an interest for and make an impact at the same time.
Wow, that's intense and awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, sweet. So you mentioned challenges, health challenges and food and diet, nutrition related challenges in your family. And can you speak to what seem, both in our larger culture and then maybe in the ethnic groups you work with in the Black community? Do you want to speak to that? As I think when people talk about nutrition, often it's a really generalized conversation, and we're coming to a time of what I hope turns into heightened sensitivity and appreciation for just the very, very, very different experiences that different ethnic groups have in this country. So yeah, if that made sense as a question, I'd love you to.
Yes, that makes sense as a question for sure.
Yeah.
I would have to say the problems in general in society. Right now, we are a technology-driven society, so there's a lot of people who are living a sedentary lifestyle. People aren't moving as much as they usually do. People are kind of like eating on the go. People are eating out a lot. So when you think about it in that sense, we notice that there is increase in obesity. There is increase in heart disease and diabetes and all of these other health-related illnesses, including like high cholesterol and high blood pressure as well, because people are often stressed out a lot. We live in a society where people always want that instant gratification. We're always looking for the next best thing. Everyone wants to be the best version of themselves. But if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not working out, if you're not eating right, your stress levels are just going to go through the roof. Because when I think about wellness, I think about it as being a part of this wellness wheel, which I absolutely love, because it doesn't just talk about physical wellness. It also talks about environmental wellness, also talks about spiritual wellness. All of these different things have to work together in order for us to be our healthiest version of ourselves. So I feel like when it comes to that, if you are off in one or more of those areas, more than likely, you're just not going to be the healthiest version of yourself. So that's from a general sense. But when I speak about the populations that I work with, which is primarily African-American, Black communities, low income, minority communities, I see a lot of those same things, but they are affected at a higher level, of course, because a lot of them have a lot of food insecurity. There's food deserts. There's not a lot of access to healthy foods. So me specifically right now, I work with elementary school students for a nonprofit, and I'm a fitness and nutrition instructor. So I can definitely see being in those environments, I see that they don't have a lot of fresh produce. They don't have a lot of just healthy options. A lot of things around them are unhealthy. And if you bring in healthy options, they usually cost a lot more. So if you're a one-parent household, you have 2 kids, and a salad is $11, but you can feed your whole family from McDonald's and it's $11 as well. Like which one are you going to do? You're probably going to go with the option that's more cost efficient and the option that's closer to you. So as I mentioned before, like I see those things at a higher level. And like for me, like I feel like it's something that is systemic, because it's specifically those neighborhoods that are targeted. Because if you go to neighborhoods outside of that, they usually have the healthier options. But I feel like it's a thing where we have to really take time to vote with our fork, and just to educate people in those communities and try to bring those healthier options there without hurting the pockets, and just showing them how to make them, showing them that bigger picture of like health and wellness being connected to what you eat and how you feel.
Beautiful. Wow. So following up on that, what have you seen any instances of success where you've seen people in food deserts? Where's the solution, the point, the hope in your perspective?
That's a very good question. I actually spoke on a panel at a health and wellness event yesterday that was focusing on African-American communities and during this time of COVID-19. So there has definitely been glimmers of hope within this whole thing that's going on, and just in general, because I live in New York City. So there are a lot of different options to kind of get like healthy fruits and vegetables. I was a fellow once for Hunger Free America, and I noticed that some of the places that we went to, we had to volunteer with Nitro once, and they actually have community gardens that are stationed in public housing. So you see stuff like that. You see things like Harlem Grown, which grows fresh produce for low-income minority communities. You see other things like the farmers markets who take EBT and take these health bucks. So there are glimmers of hope in that sense. And even health education, I've seen success stories where I work with kids who are completely against fruits and vegetables in the beginning of the year. But then you teach them about it, you have them try it in class, and then I see their parents later down the road and they're just like, oh wow, my kid tried hummus today and she like absolutely loves it. And those things just really make it worthwhile. And even the clients that I work with, because I do have my own business, when I see a client that's eating less fried food, or a client that's trying more meatless options, those things definitely make it worthwhile for me too. And I feel like people are becoming more health conscious, especially at this time, because everyone wants to know oh, what foods boost immunity? How can I be healthier? I want to work out at home. So this period of being locked down, I feel like is waking people up, on what's going on as far as like African Americans being targeted. It's waking people up as far as health and wellness. It's waking people up in just all those levels. So I feel like there are glimmers of hope for sure.
Well, good. It's good to hear, because these are some very severe times, and it's not actually that the time is so severe, but it's that we're actually, more of the country is being made aware of how severe it's been for a long time. And
Right.
so it's really, I'm glad you're getting your voice out. You don't happen to have a recording of the panel you spoke on, do you?
Yeah, so they recorded it and they're going to send it out to all the participants. So when I get that like recording, I can forward that to you.
Great, and then we'll put it in the bottom here. We'll put it in the information on this link. Awesome. So, talking about health, do you have any guidance for addressing stress in the immune system? And you mentioned like fresh fruits and vegetables. If you could suggest 3 or 4 ways that people can alter their diet and improve their eating patterns, what would you put out there?
Definitely. Well, first things first, I would say definitely eat a lot of whole foods. A lot of times people do eat processed foods. They do eat refined sugars, and that is something that definitely affects your body in a negative way. So eating more whole foods that allows you to get more energy, and that also allows you to have a stronger immune system. Specifically, I would say eating dark leafy greens, eating citrus fruits, especially around this time, eating things that are very high in vitamin C, such as oranges, having things that are anti-inflammatory, like turmeric and ginger. Those are all really good for boosting your immune system as well. Herbs are wonderful as well. So if you want to make herbal teas, that's something that can definitely boost your immune system and help you out just to feel a lot healthier. Sea moss is another thing that is super healthy for you as well.
Oh, sea moss, okay. And that's and where would you get sea moss, actually? I'm curious.
That's a good question. There are a lot of places online that you can get it from, or you can get it from your local health food stores. Right. Sometimes local health food stores sell the actual sea moss, or what they usually would do is blend it up into a gel, and basically it's sea moss that you're soaking. If you want, you can add in some key lime, and then you would take the sea moss and you would blend it with water to a gel consistency. And you can put it in smoothies, soups. You can bake with it. It's super versatile. It has like a very sea flavor. But when you add it into different things, you can't barely taste it. And it has so many different health properties as well.
That sounds amazing. That's really good. Awesome. Are there any interesting stories that come to mind? Any transformative stories of hope for anyone who you've seen in terms of their improvement that they've made over time with a change of diet, and what changes they made?
So I would say that I would have to go back to the kids that I work with as for that nonprofit, being a fitness and nutrition instructor, because as I mentioned before, these kids are in low income minority communities, and they aren't really exposed to a lot of healthy and fresh foods. So working with them, I've kind of seen all of them do a 360 throughout the school year. So during lunch, I walk around and I look at what they're eating. And some of them are eating like, what is the name of those chips? I can't remember. They're like in a purple bag, and they're not healthy for it at all. And they have like powder over it.
Oh, Doritos?
Not Doritos. It's something like Doritos in a purple bag. I can't remember.
Purple bag. I don't know. Yes. We don't want to call anyone. I don't want to get in trouble for calling.
Right. Okay. Well, I see people eating just chips. I see people having ice cream, candy, all of that stuff. And sometimes they'll eat that instead of lunch. Yeah. So in the beginning of the school year, like I saw a lot of that. But towards the end of the school year, I saw people eating more healthy fruits, more vegetables. And they would even come to me like, hey, Miss Parsons, like, I'm eating my fruits and vegetables. I'm eating healthy. And that's something to me that just makes it all worthwhile. When you can make an impact, especially on the youth at an early age, that's something that they really internalize and take with them until their adulthood. So that was something that was super inspiring. So that's why I encourage all parents to be a healthy model for your children. Like, whether you know it or not, your children look up to you so much, and they literally do everything that you do. So if you're incorporating fruits and vegetables into your diet, if you're eating healthier, if you're taking along healthy habits, they're going to do the same. And they're going to want to do it because they're going to see, wow, my mom is doing that. She's so happy. Like, she's just doing something that brings her joy and that makes her healthier. I want to do the same. And something that you can do is when you go grocery shopping with your kids, you can allow them to be like a produce picker. So like when you're shopping for fruits and vegetables, you can say, hey, Sam, or like Ashley, can you help me get these greens? Can you pick out the best tomatoes? And something that really works is having them work with you in the kitchen, because of the kids in my program, they actually work with their parents too, making healthy meals. So that's something that really just brings me joy. And I feel like representation of a healthy lifestyle, especially with parents, it starts with them. And when it comes to the older kids, just being exposed to teachers, to staff, and people in their life who model those healthy habits, they're going to pick a lot of that up.
Yeah, you answered my next question, which is like, you know, how do you influence someone? And I think you answered it right there by setting an example and getting them involved in what you're doing. And,
right.
That's awesome.
Thank you. And helping them see the bigger picture too. Like something that I work with my clients on is, what is your why? Why do you want to participate in a healthier lifestyle? Why do you want to improve the way that you feel? And that why, that's something that has to be bigger than yourself, because that's going to help you get through those tough times, or you feel like you're really struggling in your health and wellness journey. So finding your why may be, I want to see my grandchildren grow up. And maybe I want to make sure I get off of this high blood pressure medication, or I want to not have to take insulin for diabetes, or why it can be something like that. And just having that and knowing I'm pushing for something bigger, and everything I do is taking these small steps to get to this bigger goal. That's something that just really makes a really strong impact, and it's something that you internalize, and it helps you to grow.
Beautiful. In stretching that, what about people who, and actually this is something I have encountered, people whose palate is just not there, and they're just like, yeah, greens, or yeah, like this thing that's actually good for their body. Like, how do you, I mean, I think you just suggested some good ways, but anything else come to mind in terms of how do you inspire someone to shift their palate?
That's a very good question as well. And I live with my mother, and my mother is a very picky eater, like especially when I make things that are vegan and things that she's really not used to. She always is just like, I don't know if I want to eat that. And like most of my family, they're not vegans, so they don't really understand the food that I eat. But something that I would say is start with those small steps. So if they have a favorite food that's like a super unhealthy version of that food, try to give them a healthy version of their favorite foods. Try to, like, if they're not a fan of like kale or spinach or something like that, try to like slice it up into small pieces and put it in a smoothie, or try to season it with their favorite seasonings. Like taking those steps to make sure that they're happy and just incorporating things that they're used to really helps.
Yeah, I love that. That resonates so much with me. And so I mean, I thought you could have may as well have been talking about my mom too. With your
my mom, like, she really likes my chickpea burgers. I've made like this spicy barbecue chickpea burger, and she loves that, and like she loves like my what else do I make? Black bean burgers. But if I make something like a chickpea tuna or something like that, she's like, I don't know if I want to try it. But if you make it in a version that's like something that's familiar to them, then they're more likely to try it. Like she'll try
Yeah.
something like that, but I can't, it's baby steps. Like one day she'll try that
Yeah.
chickpea tuna, but until she'll try that, I'll have her try the chickpea burger.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's that resonates. For me, it was a few days ago for the first time I figured out how to make, it was a vegan with a black bean pasta and vegan Parmesan spaghetti and meatballs for my mom.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was actually super good. And it was the first time I'd eaten anything like that in a while. And is there anywhere people can get recipes you've created? Do you have any recipe books out there? I want to make that chickpea burger.
Nice, good question. So currently right now I have recipes on my Instagram page at
Okay.
Vegan Mani. I also have recipes on my website, www.veganmani.com. And you'll be one of the first people to know I am working on a recipe book. So that's something that's going to be put out pretty soon. So if you're connected with me in any shape or form, I'll definitely be promoting on all platforms. And that recipe book is going to have all of those things that people like ask me for because I put out like a lot of different recipes like on my page. But I'm someone, I usually like to cook just based off of feeling. So I really put a lot of effort into writing things down and making sure everything's 100% before I release it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I'll definitely put the links to where people can find you. I'll put them in the description section. And and when your book comes out, I'll add that. That's awesome. That's so cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. If you could give maybe like a call to action as a nutritionist.
Right. So my call to action is going to actually be this quote by Michael Pollan that I absolutely adore because I feel like it really gets to the nitty gritty and straight to the point as far as nutrition goes. And it states, eat plants, not too much. Sorry, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. Michael Pollan. And that's just saying to you, you can eat. Food is meant to be enjoyed, okay? I'm not saying that you can't have unhealthy foods, but if you do, don't eat them every single day. Eat them once in a while as a treat. Eat mostly plants. So the bulk of what you buy, it should come from a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, a lot of just things that are natural and from the earth. Because those are things, like I mentioned before, that are going to give you energy, that are going to have all the vitamins, all the nutrients, and all the really good stuff you need in order to be the healthiest version of yourself. So those are some things that you definitely want to keep in mind. And also in your health and wellness journey, take it easy on yourself. You should always make sure that you are your biggest ally. A lot of times we're super hard on ourselves. And we live in a society where it really emphasizes instant gratification. But when it comes to health and wellness, you can't just press a button and just be the healthiest version of yourself ever. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. So unfortunately, if it did, we would have tons of people out there who are like super healthy. But make sure that you're taking the small steps. Focus on the small steps. You can have that big picture in mind, but it shouldn't be the thing that's in the forefront. Your small steps should be in the forefront because that's going to get you to your goal. That's going to get you to where you want to be on your health and wellness journey. So just taking that step to say, yes, I want to eat healthy, and healthy eating is a reflection of yourself. Okay? You have to eat like you love yourself. And I'm pretty sure all of us love ourselves. So you want to give our bodies the most delicious and most healthy foods that we can eat in order to really show our bodies how much we appreciate and how much we love them.
Wow, beautifully put.
Thank you.
Amazing. Well, I hope we get to sit down and eat some awesome food one day. That'd be good.
Yes, definitely. I need to come to LA. It's like on my list. Like LA, Oregon, NOLA. Well, I've been to NOLA, but I want to go back there again too.
Yeah. Well, we'll be in touch, and I really appreciate this. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, what a privilege. Bye.
Bye.